welcome back to the 3 Points podcast. I am your host, Mark, and I am unfortunately not joined by Luke on this special episode. There's a reason for that, and I'm about to get into it, or it's going to be a bit messy, it's going to be a bit ranty, and I apologise in advance, but I need to get it off my chest. And I've been asked a lot of questions about what's happening at Arsenal Football Club, and I've got to put my point across, and that's what we're going to do. First of all, I assume people will be asking where Luke and I have been. Where's the 3 Points podcast been? Are we giving up? What's happened there? Look, the straight answer is it's been Christmas, man. Coming up to the New Year, Christmas, we thought, we didn't really factor in that we're going to both be busy. I know Luke's been busy with work, man. He's been grinding, and we both have different groups of like friend group circles and shit like that. So I know Luke's been catching up with his boys, and I've been catching up with my boys. We're still in touch. We're still hanging out. Both been sick a couple of times. No COVID though, so we COVID clean. But yeah, I think we're going to be back next week, following the Arsenal-Chelsea game, which I'm not too excited for, but I think that's what's going to be happening. And no, everything's sweet. The podcast has not been cancelled. We have just been chilling out, having a break with the fam, and busy doing Christmas shopping and all that sort of stuff. Okay, so this episode is going to be about the state that Arsenal Football Club are in. Since the last podcast, we are now 15th in the league. Burnley have an extra game they haven't played, and if they win that game, we go 16th. And I guess it's a good thing that, the teams below us, Fulham, Sheffield, and West Brom and all that, they're playing so badly, because we could be in such a worse position. But anyway, so first of all, I'm going to go through each game and give a rough recap. First of all, we'll go with 2-1 to Wolves. Now, at the beginning of that game, there was a nasty clash of heads between David Luiz and Raul Jimenez. Thankfully, they're both okay. That was the main concern, the vibe on the pitch and off the pitch amongst fans. It looked pretty nasty. The way the players reacted to that, it was quite concerning. And that game, I don't know. I think a lot of the players were rattled by that. But I think that injury and that thing spurred Wolves on to play such a great game of football and to go and get that win. Gabriel scored our goal from a corner. I can't remember who scored for Wolves. I could find out, but I'm in the middle of a rant, or I will be soon. But anyway, 2-1. That game mainly was a letdown due to that was when we started seeing the crossing tactic, where we just cross the ball, and nothing happened. And I'll get to that in a bit. The following week, Tottenham 2-0. And that game there was a classic Mourinho-style game where he sat back, he absorbed a lot of our pressure, and I must admit, we did dominate the game, but when we dominated it, we didn't do anything with it. So you can dominate the possession, you can dominate the passing, you can dominate all those sort of things, but if you can't do anything with the ball in the final third and to attack, what's the point? People can say, and I know Arsenal fans are going, but we controlled the game. Doesn't matter. They walked away with the 3 points. They sat back. They didn't have the ball. When they did have the ball, they just broke away, countered, and they suckered us all into their half. Our back line was, pushing forward. Bellerin lost the ball a couple times, and it cost us a game. Not that I thought that there was any big chance we could score, because again, that crossing tactic, it didn't work against Wolves. We all thought, right, Mikel's trying something. Surely he's going to reassess the tactics now. No, the crossing game still happens. So that happened, and words fail to describe that sort of game. That fifth foul throw-in by Hector Bellerin. Now, this guy's a professional footballer and he can't take a throw-in, and he's a fullback. It's his job. Like, even from the academies, he'd be taking throw-ins. He's always been a fullback. And it's not the first time. He's done it last season. He's done it this season. And yeah, no, it's concerning, man. Anyway, so the first goal really was Bellerin not tracking back. He tried crossing the ball in and he did another poor delivery, which is concerning because Bellerin I always thought was only rated as a fullback due to his pace, and when he got injured, when he had that major injury, I thought he lost a bit of pace, and he hasn't quite got that pace back since coming back. And I think now we're seeing how mediocre of a defender he was. He was great in that Wenger style. When we got the ball, he broke away. He just bolted down the line, put a ball in. But the way that Arteta's playing, where we're trying to control it around the wings and hoof the ball in and try and get someone like Aubameyang or Lacazette that barely score headers and can't score headers, now we're kind of seeing the true form of Hector Bellerin. So let's move on from the North London derby. It's already making me mad. Alright, so then the following week, we lost 1-0 to Burnley. Now, we went into it half-time. I think it was half-time. I'm pretty sure. Was it? Let me check. I'll check what... We're doing a fact check on my own. This is where I need Luke, but... okay, so I know that we started the game shockingly, and I think we went into half-time, if I'm not corrected, 0-0. Here we go. Let me get this. Yeah, of course. So we went into the game 0-0 at half-time, and we looked poor. This crossing tactics still happening, and we as fans were watching it. We're like, Mikel, what are you doing? Like, we can't score from this crossing tactic. You need to readjust your tactics to suit us, because it failed against Wolves, it failed against Tottenham. Why would it work against Burnley? I think Aubameyang scored 3 headers in his whole Arsenal career. Like, who sees Aubameyang score headers? Or Lacazette. Lacazette holds the ball up and he plays it down the wings, whoever overlaps him. But anyway, then come the second half, and we come out and we're looking quite good, quite positive. It's the Arsenal that I've wanted to see, because at the moment recently I've been watching Arsenal and we're not attacking, we're not going forward. It's very boring to watch, and I hate to say it because, if you know me, I have to watch the games regardless of what time it is, 8 o'clock to 4 o'clock in the morning. And this is only half of the fixtures I'm telling you about, but up to this point, we're playing shit football, and I'm still waking up at godly hours of the morning, Sunday nights, Monday mornings, Tuesday mornings, and I know we're going to lose, and I shouldn't feel like that as Arsenal Football Club, you know what I mean? So, anyway, so second half, we're playing good, a goal is coming, you can sense it. Then Granit Xhaka does a stupid tackle again. Now, Granit Xhaka, he did it in the North London derby. He did it in the... loads of times Xhaka's went in silly fouls and unnecessary fouls. So he goes in, 50-50, he's done the wrong. And the Burnley players step up to him and arc up. And then Xhaka grabs one of the players, I can't remember who his name was, by the throat and pushed him. Now, first of all, I'm thinking, Granit, you've made that challenge. You as a footballer should know that was a stupid challenge to make. You can't get pissed off if the other teams are now defending their teammates and grab someone by the throat. So Xhaka gets a straight red from VAR, and we're down to 10 men. And Aubameyang's obviously still suffering from this goal drought. People making it out to be a massive goal drought. And he ended it in the wrong net in about the 73rd or 6th minute. Scored an own goal from a corner. And, it's not a lot you can say. It was not a... I guess these sort of things happen. But anyway, that was the game. It ended 1-0. Granit Xhaka, I hope that was the last time we see him play in an Arsenal shirt. However, he is back from suspension when we play Chelsea. And I swear to God, if I see him in that lineup, man, I'm going to question Mikel again. I'm questioning him for his lineups. Willian, Xhaka, Luiz, all these players, Bellerin, I'm questioning him. And I honestly hope, and this is no personal opinion about Granit Xhaka. I'm sure behind the scenes and all that, he's a great person. But as a footballer, for where we want to go, Xhaka needs to be gone. And I hear that, there's a potential swap deals for Eriksen and all that sort of stuff, which is all good. I'm happy to do that. But Eriksen is not going to fix that midfield at all. He would be a bench player at most, I hope. I hope it's not going to be Xhaka, Eriksen swap, and Eriksen's going to be the one that is going to come in and be the creator. No, we need people like Awar. We need a couple more cams. We need another right winger, because I think Willie needs to go. I don't know how we're going to do that. We ended up offering him 190k on a 3-year deal, and he's playing like this. It's honestly, I'll get into the recruitment later. I've got to go through these results first. So we're up to Burnley now. So this is when Xhaka got sent off. Next game, 1-1 against Southampton, and this was the first game. No, was it? No, I don't think it was the first game back at the Emirates with fans. I think Burnley might have been. I'm not sure, but Walcott came back and scored a goal. Quite a good goal. And that was that was funny. Couldn't do that for Arsenal, but that's all right. No, Walcott's looking good, man, for Southampton. His boyhood club, and people are a bit salty about him celebrating against us, but he's had such a up and down career. I'm happy that he's doing something now, and kudos to him. But then in the second half, again, we went into half time 1-0 this time. Second half, we come out, and I don't know what it is. It's like Arteta's said something to him, and everything starts to click. So whatever he says in the second half, he should be saying it just before the game kicks off, because we come out, we're looking good, and we score, and Aubameyang scores. We look like I'd snatch a draw here. In our current form and the way we're playing, I'm taking a draw against Southampton. That's crazy for me to say. But look, we're playing well. Aubameyang scored. Let's keep going. And then Gabriel gets a second yellow card and gets sent off. And we're down to 10 men. We're defending now. And parking the bus. And I don't think we're a dirty team. Don't get it twisted. We're not being told like Stoke are to go out and make tackles and be stupid and all that. I think the players are really like I don't know. They're not concentrating. They're not there. They're clocked out, and I'm going to talk about clocking out later, because there's a quote there that I've got to read out. But I think they're making rash challenges in fear of conceding, and the consequence of that is we go down to 10 men. And I've said this to Luke on the podcast, let them score. Let them score, because we can easily score another goal with 11 men on the pitch. But when you have 10 men on the pitch, the whole complexity of the game changes. And when you have stupid tackles that Xhaka makes, stupid sending offs that Pepe does, in the current situation Arsenal are in, it's really, really stressful. Okay, so that happened, and it ended 1-1. So, again, another sending off. Everton, we played against them. We scored an own goal. Rob Holding. So if it's not red cards, it's own goals, and that's what's really getting me. And people say it's luck and all that, but I don't think so. I think we're finally seeing what Arsenal Football Club really is, and the amount of unnecessary attention that we've not given to certain areas of the squad. I think it's coming to light now. It's fruitioning. The defensive frailties and midfield frailties, the attacking frailties, it's all been mediocre, and we've been happy sitting fourth and that, and the board don't really care. Like we've said, it's an investment. It's a cash cow for them. But trust me, if we end up going down, then the Cronkies will be in such debt and such trouble, which I don't hope. Of course I don't, because this club could potentially... don't even talk to me about what would happen if we got relegated. I'm touching wood that we don't. But looking at how we're playing, I have to be honest, I don't see us winning. I see us drawing at most. But anyway, I've got to go. So Everton, Holding, scored an own goal. And I'm thinking, yeah, okay, right, own goal. We're still looking a bit 50-50 here. Maitland-Niles gets tackled, penalty, 1-1. So 1-1, we're going into it, we're looking good. And then just before half-time, we concede the second goal from a corner. Mina, and it's park the bus for Everton. We can't make a way through. And also, by the way, this crossing tactic is still happening. It's not working, and it's still happening. One game, I think Gary Neville said, we had 78 crosses in one game, and 3 connected. Now, I don't need my coaching badges or to be a professional coach to realise, play to your strengths. Now, there's no issue at all, and I have no issue if this is what Arteta wants to play. It's a good tactic, but we don't have the players to play to that tactic. Now, with 3-4 games, this is 4 or 5 games before the January window. Play any other tactic until January and say, right, January 1st, we buy a target man, we buy a big, tall fucking striker that can head the ball into the back of the net. Someone like Peter Crouch or Bamford or something like that. But Lacazette and Aubameyang and Saka ain't gonna score from headers, which is what I'm questioning. You know, you've got to look at what's happening at this club is a tactic that obviously Arteta wants to play, and like I said, it's a good tactic, but we don't have the players to play that tactic. And you can try weekly to the same thing. It's a sign of insanity trying the exact same thing over and over again, expecting a different result, and it's not working. And then Mikel gets asked by a journal, I think after the Tottenham game, he goes, "This is the second time you've tried this crossing tactic, and it's clearly not working." And Arteta comes out and goes, "It's simple maths. The more crosses we put in, we'll eventually score." Yeah, okay, I get that. If we had a decent striker that was actually connecting to these crosses, but when you have 75 crosses into the box and 2 of them are actually being met by a header, the percentage of those that could be goals is quite low. I don't care how many crosses we put in. And this is where we lack Ozil or anyone like that creating, and I'm going to touch on that later as well. But we'll get up to the final result that I'm about to speak to. That game ended 2-1. Man City and the Carabao Cup quarter-final this morning. Well, it's now Christmas Eve, 12:30 a.m. Merry Christmas for everyone tomorrow. But yeah, I got up for that 4 o'clock in the morning. I knew we were going to lose. First of all, I'll have Liam, who you guys have heard on the podcast before. You've heard me. I've said to him, I hope City knock us out of the Carabao Cup. I didn't want to be in that competition because we need to focus on the Premier League now. This is no joke. This is about 2 or 3 games from turning into a proper shit show. And I said to Liam, I hope City beat us because I don't want to be in this competition anymore. What I wanted to see youngsters go out and get some first minutes under their belt, first team minutes under their belt, get some development going, and have a competitive game. I didn't want the senior team to go out and to get, to get smacked. And yeah, this game was questionable. So first of all, we've got Runarsson in goal. Now, he was the replacement to Emi Martinez, and now this is going to be the big talking point of that game. He was at fault for about three goals, and unfortunately for him, and what I don't agree with, you can slag a player off for their footballing ability, but when you take it personal by telling people to go kill yourself and all that sort of stuff, and you're making a debut against Man City, man. Well, like domestic debut, I guess. I don't know if he played against Leicester in the Carabao Cup. I'm not sure, but when you make it personal, that's where it changes. People know I'm not a fan of Shaq or I'm not a fan of Willian, but I'm not sitting there saying, go kill yourself. I hope your parents die. I hope your family dies. Now, in response to that, Runarsson shut his Twitter account down, and I feel sorry for the bloke, man. Look, he was at fault for the goals, but they were mistakes. Everyone makes it. I mean, if that's what he's gotten for the Carabao Cup quarter-final, I'd love to know what Karius got in the Champions League final against Real Madrid, because bigger stage, bigger moment. But yeah, all I can say is you get what you pay for. We paid £1 point something million for him, and you wonder why he makes mistakes. If he was that good for £1 million, why wasn't Chelsea, City, United in for him? Again, this is cheap buying from Arsenal. People say to me, oh, you guys spent 72 million on Pepe. You guys spent, yeah, okay, cool. But we also spent £1 million on our goalkeeper. And now, obviously, he's not playing the best football, and he's a mediocre goalkeeper. Emi Martinez, I said to people when after we won the FA Cup Community Shield, I was happy with Emi. I wanted him to stay. And I thought, you know what, 2 keepers playing for competition, why not? Why not have 2 keepers playing for competition? Competition's good. It breeds confidence, breeds battle. Like I said to Luke with Kepa and Mendy. You can either loan Kepa out, but don't I said, don't sell him. Loan him out. Have him as competition, because you might regret that. And if Kepa ends up finding form and Mendy finds form, then you've got 2 brilliant goalkeepers. One gets injured, then, you've got someone to step in. You've got one for your FA Cup and Carabao Cup competition. You've got one for your Premier League, Champions League competition. You can drop one on form because the other one will step up and they'll be just as good. That's what I wanted Emi for. And I'm sure we could have guaranteed him minutes. We could guarantee him minutes in Europa League, FA Cup, Carabao Cup, whatever. It could be in his contract. We have 4 competitions we play in. We've got 2 keepers. One gets 2 competitions, the other gets 2. And obviously, based on performances in the league or in the cup, you can swap and change. But Arsenal decided to opt out and sell him for 20 million to Aston Villa, and he's played really well. He's one of my favourite keepers, and I knew there was a reason why I would regret us getting rid of him. And I'm not saying that we wouldn't be in this situation if we hadn't had Emi Martinez. But now we've sold Emi for 20 million, and we've gone and bought another goalkeeper for 1 million. And also that goalkeeper, Runarsson, was based off a recommendation from our goalkeeping coach. So right there, I say you sack that goalkeeping coach, because what happened to scouting, to finding the player from a club, rather than, oh, you know what, I had a mate in Iceland or wherever, France, and he was a wicked keeper, I recommend you sign him. He'll be on the cheap as well, 1 million. He'll replace Emi. No. Because now if Leno gets injured, we're fucked. And that's no disrespect to Runarsson as a person again, but judging on his footballing ability, Leno gets injured, we have him for the whole season, 4 or 5 games, and based off of what I've seen of him in the Europa League and the League Cup, he's well out of his depth, and we're throwing him into the deep end. We could have bought Brentford's goalkeeper, Raya, for £10 million. We couldn't afford it. This team that went out and bought Nicolas Pepe for 70 plus million, Thomas Partey for 40 million, Gabriel for 30 million. We can afford a £10 million goalkeeper. And now we are talking about, and I'm not taking the piss here, and people can think that this is banter or not, but let's just be facts here. This is Arsenal Football Club is one of the biggest clubs in the world. Only way you can tell is they can go and do pre-season tours in Australia, America, Singapore, anywhere in the world, and sell out stadiums. Just like Chelsea are, just like Tottenham, they're one of the biggest clubs in the world. We've got one of the most decorated histories in English football. I think we're 3rd behind United and Liverpool. And this club can't afford £10 million for a goalkeeper, a backup keeper. Now, your backup keeper isn't just a B-rate second shit keeper. It is literally your keeper gets injured, he's not as good, but he'll do the job until that keeper comes back or suspended, whatever. And can also come in regardless of form, what's happening with that. But Runarsson for £1 million, all I can say is you get what you pay for. And Arsenal are ruining that. And apparently now in January, where he's now being demoted to 3rd goalkeeper, and we're looking to buy a 2nd goalkeeper in January. Why not just buy the 2nd goalkeeper in the summer when Emi was sold? It baffles me, the recruitment, man. So yeah, he closed all social media. Now, I see a lot of people complaining about the 3rd goal that City scored. Phil Foden was offside, but obviously because no VAR was there. What I say to that is, yeah, if VAR was there, it would have been ruled offside. It was clear offside, obviously with the lines and all that shit. But if you're one of those people that are like, I hate VAR, want it gone, don't now say you want it. Because you're kind of backtracking to when it suits you. All I will say is, if you're going to have VAR, use it in all competitions, or don't use it at all. I'm sick and tired of going, oh, look, now VAR, check that. No VAR in this competition. What? No VAR. Yeah, no VAR. It's like, man, like, if you're going to use it, because majority of the leagues are using it, so why not use it in the cup competitions? So that's my take on it, but I'm not going to sit there and go, oh, fucking wish VAR was there, because I don't like VAR, and if the linesman didn't pick it up, the linesman didn't pick it up, no matter if it costs us the game. However, they need to look at using VAR in all the competitions, in my opinion. So that was the third goal, and obviously there was a potential red card on Ceballos. I think Fernandinho, I think, whacked him in the face, and they all were saying, yeah, it could. Like the commentators and everyone online was saying, yeah, that's a red card. Again, don't call, like, these are the same people I see criticising VAR weekly. Ah, fuck VAR. The only time they like it is when it's in their favour. You got to stand up and be like, look, the linesman didn't see it. Nothing wrong with how it was traditionally. But again, it needs to be in all competitions, in my opinion, if you're going to use it, or scrap it altogether. So they're the fixtures that are gone. We have Chelsea on Boxing Day, which, it's to that point is, if Chelsea can't win, I would be very concerned. If we got a draw, that would be massive. That would be one of the best results we could get at the season. At this point of time, I couldn't see how this would turn around against Chelsea. If we won, it would have to have been score, park the bus. I can't see us winning comfortably and playing decent football. Chelsea will be looking at this and being like, you know what, we could go and rattle them. We could score. So yeah, we got Chelsea next on Boxing Day, and we will lose that game. That's one of the games that you have to accept as Arsenal fans, and the Arsenal fans listening to this, we're going to lose that game. The thing is how we're going to respond after that game, because we're now getting close to, it's a proper relegation fight, and this team, just seeing what they're playing like now, is not up to a relegation fight. That they haven't got that mentality, that fight, that spirit to go out there and properly go through a relegation battle. They're not that club, and if we are genuinely going to go into a relegation battle soon, this club is gonna. It's going to be quite stressful, and those players aren't up for it. And I can tell you right now, they're not up to that task. And that's where the recruitment comes in, where people are saying, oh, January we're gonna get someone good, we're gonna get a midfielder, and the board's come out and said, yeah, we expect something, we're gonna do something, and I think they're hoping out for like that Bruno Fernandes effect, where they come in and change that whole team's fortune. And that's all well and good, but we're 4 or 5 players away from what United's base squad was when Bruno Fernandes stepped in. We can't just go out and buy, we'll get Houssem Aouar, or we'll just get Eriksen and expect everything to change. No, we need 3-4 players. We can't rely on one player. We need to, this January transfer window could potentially be, depending on how we go up to, I think we got Brighton after Chelsea. Depending on how Brighton goes, this could potentially be the most important transfer window in Arsenal's history, in terms of what effect it will have on our future. We need to buy smart. We need to spend wise. I'm sick and tired of buying ex-Premier League players or aging Premier League players and putting them in high salaries and on 3-year deals and them turning to shit. So that's why I'm like, Eriksen, no matter if you're a good footballer or not, I don't want you. I'd rather go out there and get someone between 22 to 25 and stick them in to the side and hope for the best. Get 3 or 4 in. We need a fullback, we need a midfielder, we need a winger, we need a striker, if this is a tactic that Arteta wants to play. I still don't know why we're not playing to our strengths. So now the first on the list is Willian. I need to question Willian. I need to question what his attitude is against Everton. when Rob Holding scored that own goal, he could have stopped that crossing. He put no effort in, and he hasn't put effort in. And here is why I question Arteta. Why are we playing Willian? All these games, Willian has started in. And each game, he's been shit. I think he's had 2 shots on target since joining Arsenal. And every week, he starts and starts and starts. Then you have someone like Reece Nelson or Nicolas Pepe that are ripping it up in the Europa League. And people can say, farmers competition, whatever, the farmers team. But I've always said to Luke, no matter what age you are, if you're playing well, why would you be dropped? And if I was Reece Nelson or Nicolas Pepe and I've just gone out and I've played my balls off and I've put in a brilliant shift, a brilliant performance, and then he's like, we could play on this weekend, Premier League, Everton. I reckon I could really change it. Oh no, Willian's playing. Really? The same guy that's been, losing possession the past 4 weeks? Yeah, Willian's playing. I don't get that. I do not get that. Following Balogun, he's been brilliant in the Europa League. He looks really good. Smith Rowe, Willock, all these players, they're looking really good. They're looking like they actually give a shit to be out on that pitch, not getting minutes. Still Granit Xhaka, still Danny Ceballos, still Aubameyang. And I'm willing to drop Aubameyang. I'm the attitude I'm seeing from Aubameyang and all those players on the pitch, they should be dropped. So now we've got Willian on a 3-year deal on 190k a week. And this is where I'm thinking, what's happening with this recruitment? Honestly, honest to fuck, it is really boiling my piss at the moment, and I'm really starting to get cheesed off by it. So we need to get rid of him somehow, unless he turns it around, but I can't see it. He doesn't look like he can be asked to play. But yeah, William Saliba, a great prospect, a great centre half that we got from France. We spent 30 million on this player. Has not made a debut in the senior team. I don't get it. When we played Everton, right? Here's an interesting fact for you. When we played Everton and lost 2-1, our under-23s, where Saliba was playing in, our under-23s, our defence was more expensive than the defence played against Everton in the Premier League. Work that one out. This is where I'm really starting to be concerned about what is happening at this club. If he wasn't good enough to play for the first team, why did we sign him in the first place? Unless it's a personal agenda, unless Mikel Arteta has something against him for being an Emery signing, or something's going on, why did we sign him? Because clearly Tottenham were after him, United were after him, I think City were after him, and all these big clubs were after him. I think Bayern were, and we went out and we got him for 27 million. And it was a big coup, and it was like, the deal is, though, you get to take him back on loan to Saint Etienne. And we gave him the number 4 number on his shirt. So naturally you'd think, right, he's got the number 4, that's a natural centre-half position. Comes in, don't see him. He plays in a couple of friendlies in pre-season. We're like, yo, he looks good. Once he adapts, Nope, not seen. I heard that, the rumour has it, I don't know if it's confirmed, but both his parents have died in a short amount of time, and I can understand if that's what's playing on his mind, and, he wants to go back home, or he's homesick, I get that, but there needs to be some form of statement that comes out about him, because not only is it detrimental to the players' sort of, I guess, presence in the club and amongst the fans, but it's making the fans kind of question what's going on at the club. You don't have to go at the nitty-gritty and say, people died and stuff like that, but you can go, look, he is a part of our first team plans. However, personal issues have caused an effect that we're going to need to put him out on loan in January. He'll be working with us, and we still see him as part of the future. At the moment, all I see is that we spent 30 million on a player and he's playing in the reserves. Work that one out. And you've got players like Mustafi and Kolasinac who have been told you've got no future at this club. You are going to be gone as soon as possible. And yet Saliba, who's been signed and played in the top tier in France and can't even get game time, I question that. I don't understand. If you tell a player You have no future at this club. Why play them? You have two options. You either play them until you can get rid of them, or you don't renew their contract, or you say to them, you're not part of my plans, you're done, you're finished, and you play a youngster ahead of them. Because I don't want to see players that know that there's no future at this club on that pitch representing us, because are they going to put 110% effort in? You know, how many players you'd find maybe 1 out of 100 that would be like, yo, right, straight up, I love this club, I'm going to put it in no matter if I'm going to get sacked or sold or my contract's not going to be renewed. So these players like Mustafi and Kolasinac, you know, and the joke is Mustafi's turned around and said, I'm not signing a deal, I'm leaving. I'm like, excuse me? You're Skodran Mustafi, who's been an absolute fucking donkey for 3 years, and you're trying to have the pulling power in this? Like, bye-bye, see ya. You're not going to be missed. You know, Barcelona are looking at signing him. I don't know if it's on a free because he's got 6 months left, or if they're going to come in and pay for him. Yes, please, come take him. You know, I don't expect a lot for him, but if you want to be stupid enough and you want to put up with the comedy show of Mustafi at the back, feel free. And I'm not saying that Mustafi's the worst defender we've had, because there's been times of brilliance under him where he's been a good defender, but the inconsistencies are too I guess, detrimental. That's going to be the word of the week to the squad and to the future of this club, because we can't be affording to making silly errors where Mustafi, again, was at fault for a few of the goals against City. Why play him if he's got no future at the club? Mesut Ozil. Clearly we need him. If Ozil was resubmitted in January, I think a lot of respect for Arteta. I think Arteta he'd lose a lot of respect, and I think it would be quite the scene if Arteta was to resubmit him now, as if to say, you were wrong, he's back in the squad now. I don't know what's going to happen. I know what's going to happen. He's not going to be coming back at all. But yeah, he's 350k a week to sit on the bench. Now, I don't mind. I don't agree that Ozil would come in and change this whole club. We'd be sitting fourth if Ozil was in the squad. No, we wouldn't. But what I'm saying is, in the 25-man squad, Ozil is good enough to be on the bench or in the reserves. Just like Mustafi and Kolasinac are. They don't play weekly. They don't play in the Europa League. Yet, he's just there to be in training. It baffles me, man. And my opinion on that is just pay his contract out. I'll get to it later, but apparently he's caused a real rot in the club, and he's disrupting behind the scenes, and this is why our form has turned to shit show. You're going to pay him the same amount anyway. Why not just pay his contract out, get him out the door, see you later, you're someone else's issue now, and we move on. We both part ways. You're paying him 350k anyway just to train, to cause shit. Just say, here you go, here's your last 8 months, 6 months, whatever it is, of your contract. Get out. We're done. Finished. Do it. That's what I'd do. But obviously that sounds too simple, and Arsenal wouldn't do that. And then you've got, and to cut back to the Mustafi incident, that you've got players like Cedric, Pablo Mari, Callum Chambers playing in the Europa League, playing well. Mustafi, Kolasinac, they have featured in the Europa League, but still, 50-50. Why bring them over to the League Cup quarter-final game? Why not reward the players that are playing well in Pablo Mari, who scored the other week as well, centre-half who scored, which is good. We need those sort of things, because at the moment, the way we look like scoring is only from corners or crosses. And he went up and scored just like Gabriel has been this season. And Callum Chambers, versatile, can play centre defensive mid, centre back, right back. You're playing in a 3. If Maitland-Niles or Bellerin's up on the wing, Callum Chambers can play on that right-hand side if you have a back 3. I questioned the team selection heavily, and it's hard for me because I'm really, really trying to trust the process. And I'm not Arteta out yet, but I'm very, very, very close to it. And if I do turn into Arteta out, I would love nothing but for him to prove me wrong. But Arteta's really shot himself in the foot when he walked in the door and he turned around and said, "You're a part of my squad, you're a part of my squad, you're not a part of my squad, you're a part of my squad, you're not, we're going to sell you as soon as we can, you're not in the 25-man squad." Even I know that doing that to senior players, to highly influential players in the dressing room, is going to cause a stir. It will. You can have a look at Klopp and all that, and Guardiola, or anyone who's had to rebuild. They haven't left out a major player out of their squad, even if they didn't want him. You bring the player in, and you say, right, we're going to play you, we'll play you. Oh, an offer's come in, we've had to accept it. Off you go. Or, look, 6 months, well, we might offer you a contract. I know you've got 6 months left. Don't offer him a contract. But when you leave him out of the squad, you're going to ask questions. You're going to really ask questions. Klopp would have had this team that was shite, mid-table football, and when he got the opportunity, he got rid of them. But he still utilised them in the early days to finish top 5, top 4, top 8, whatever. And he slowly did it. Arteta, it looks like that he's wanted to go, right, we're going to get rid of you. No one's coming to buy him. No one's coming to do that. And now it's like, oh, we've made it public now. You're not part of our plans. And now everyone's kind of pissed off about it. Well, 50% of the squad. And also, I question as well, would the board go out and go, all right, we've got rid of 7 players. Here's another 7. I don't see it. Unless there were 7 £1 million players like Runnison. And then, we know how that would go. But yeah, I'm not Arteta out yet. But it's getting to that point where he needs to work on his recruitment. He needs to work on his team selection. Because I still see a great coach in Mikel Arteta. I really do. And I feel like the players are letting him down, are failing him. It's not an easy thing to win an FA Cup. People go, yeah, look, you had a good cup run. No, we had a hard run in that cup. Let's not get it twisted. We had Leeds away, We had City away. No, we had City at Wembley. We had Chelsea at Wembley. They're two difficult games. You can fluke one, but fluking all the way to the final and winning it. And also, after lockdown, we started off really bad. We lost against City. We lost against Brighton. And people were calling for his head. And then we went on a good run of form. And Aubameyang was scoring out of his skin. Ceballos was playing out of his mind. Emi Martinez was like our saviour. And things turned around. And I could see that, you know what, if we had the players similar to what Liverpool, Chelsea, United and that had in those positions, if we had a Bruno Fernandes in that midfield, if we had a Ziyech on that wing, if we had a Trent on the right and a Van Dijk in the centre half, these tactics could work. Arteta knows what he's on about. And that's why I'm not so much Arteta out yet, but it's getting to that point where you're a new manager, you're a rookie manager, we're about to potentially be in a relegation battle. You're new to this, you're inexperienced, these players have never been involved in a relegation battle. So what's going to happen? Are we going to just hope that we don't end up in that situation? These are the exact same players that failed under Arsene Wenger and the exact same players that failed under Unai Emery. And that's not a coincidence. Arsene Wenger got them in, had a good run, then we went down. Emery took over, he got a bounce out of them, went on like a 20 game unbeaten run, went to Baku, then went down, got sacked. Arteta came in, got a bounce off them, won the FA Cup, now we're going down. There's a clear pattern here, and this squad needs to be torn apart, ripped apart. We need it destroyed. We need Ozil out. We need Kolasinac out. We need all the mediocre. We need Ceballos, Xhaka, Lacazette, potentially Aubameyang. And I'm even saying that because recent weeks I'm seeing him running around head down, can't be asked. If you're not asked, you're meant to be the captain, which I think we've still given him the captaincy just to use it as pullers. Come sign this 3-year contract. Now he's gone to shit. Well, not so shit. I hope that it's just a bad run of form, but we have to see. But there's a clear pattern, and you can't tell me otherwise. Wenger got a bounce at this lot, got him sacked. Unai got a bounce. 20 games undefeated in the league and going to Europa League final is good. Bad performance in Europa League final. Went downhill fast. They bottled the top 4 race. Arteta got bounced out of them, and it's gone down fast. And this, like I said, it needs to be torn apart. Recruitment needs to change. We need to get rid of this fucking dealings with Keir Jarapchin, who's an agent of Willian and David Luiz, Cedric, and we were going to get Coutinho, who he's also the agent of, but Ronald Koeman wanted to keep him. And it's like, there was a reason why Wenger didn't want these super agents involved with the club and have connections with the club, because I guess this is what we're getting. We're getting Willian and Luiz and that don't want to play for us, and also they're ones that are pushing for Arteta to be sacked. Same players that I saw were pushing for Conte to get sacked. And it's like, no, like things were going good. Things were going good. Now the two best mates have gotten together and are trying to get our manager sacked. So it needs to be torn apart. The tradition, the values, the players need to be replaced, and it needs to be done quickly. We need to get rid of us, I reckon, 4 or 5 in January, and we need to sign 4 or 5. They don't have to be world class. They don't have to be Messi, but they have to be players that just want to play for the shirt, have a bit of pride in their football, and want to be ambitious, rather than signing players that are just coming for the paycheck and, it's a little bit of retirement money and stuff like that. So it's on the verge of Arteta out. For me, I know there's majority of people are Arteta out. Like, what gives him the credit to keep him Arteta in? But I look at it rationally that there's a clear common, thing where these players are failing the managers. They fail every manager, and I guarantee people want us to get Max Allegri, Rafa Benitez. And you know what? If Arteta was sacked, I would like Allegri. That would be my ideal manager, because he can go up alongside the big boys like Klopp and Guardiola. Allegri, successful at Juventus, successful at AC Milan. So it's like, yeah, I would like to see Allegri, but are they going to get a bounce again? Xhaka comes in, plays out of his skin. Ceballos comes in, plays out of his skin. Mustafi potentially comes in, plays out of his skin. Would the manager be like, right, Mustafi, you're still going. Xhaka, you're still going. Or are they going to offer him a new contract, like genuinely, and they turn to shit again, get him sacked? This is a process that I'm saying to Arsenal fans, it needs to happen. We need to ride this wave, no matter how bad it looks, at least until mid-January. We need to ride this wave. We need to get signings in. We need to get people out the door. We need to get the rot and the disease that's been sitting there at the club out for so long, because this is just going to be a never-ending cycle at the moment. At the moment, all I can see is Saka, Gabriel, Leno, Tierney, Partey as the only players that I would keep in that first team, and potentially Martinelli. I'd say Saliba, but we haven't seen anything of him, so I can't comment. But what reports are saying, I would keep him as well. But that's it. Everyone else can go. They're mediocre. They are not going to take us where we need to go. And this is not going to take. This is not going to be one window fix. I'm not saying January we're going to go out and sign 30 odd players. It's not doable for any club. But it's going to be a slow progress back to where we want to be. But it needs to start in January. We need to get at least, I'm saying, 2 players out, 2 players in. 2 players out, 2 players in. 2 brilliant players that fits the idea that Arteta wants to play. And that's my opinion. You got players like Houssem Aouar that we're looking at getting. And the reports are that it's going to be someone like that or someone along the lines of that. And Houssem Aouar is one of those world-class midfielders that a lot of teams are in for. But, I'm thinking to myself, wow, Houssem Aouar, I wouldn't have thought that he'd want to come to Arsenal at the moment. In the situation we are, if we were 10th, 8th, in the league, then yeah, fair enough. But does he want to leave Lyon? I'm pretty sure he's at Lyon. Sorry, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm not bothering to check facts. I'm just ranting at the moment. Is he going to want to leave Lyon and come to Arsenal at 15th? I don't know where they are in the league, but this is bordering on a relegation battle. Are these players, are they ready to step in and really put in that fight week in, week out to just, we need every point that counts, every point, that pressure on the players' minds. They've not been a part of that, and there's a reason why you have managers there. They go, Sam Allardyce, he's a relegation battle manager. There's a reason why there are managers like that. Because they know what it's like, and it's going to be it's going to be difficult, man. Again, the one thing I would change at the club is Edu. He needs to go. He's technical director. Look, he's a club legend. I don't want him to tarnish his legacy anymore. But what he's signed, Willian, Louise, Runnison, what he's agreed on, it's concerning. We really need to look at the recruitment better, because now we're spending, again, we want to get people like Kolasinac, Mustafi, all off the wage bill, 100 mil. You look at this, right? You get rid of Ozil, 350k. You get rid of Mustafi, 100k, 450k. You get rid of Kolasinac, 550k. Get rid of Socrates, 650k. This is £650,000 that is just being paid to sit in the reserves. They are on Champions League wages to sit in the reserves. So what I'm trying to say is we need to get rid of these players as soon as possible, and we need to recruit smartly. I don't even think that's a word. Intelligently. There we go. We need to recruit intelligently, and we can't make any more mistakes. We can't be putting, that's where it's going to be, where we end up going, I hear people saying, let's get Olivier Giroud back. Now, Giroud's a brilliant striker, don't get me wrong, and he's a club legend. I love Giroud. And yeah, it would be good to have him back. But, he is not going to fix the long-term project. He will short-term. I know we need short-term right now, but we also need to look at long-term, like, seriously. With the way the club spends, they don't go out and spend money all the time. They go spend it very... they pace it out when they go to spend. So when you spend money, Arsenal, they need to spend thinking of short-term and long-term. And Giroud isn't the answer long-term. But the tactic we're playing is Giroud is the answer. He'd come in and he'd do a job. Definitely, 100%. So why I said Edu is because Marc Overmars has been... he wasn't sacked. He left Ajax. And Ajax have done brilliantly in their rebuild. They were really horrific at one stage. Now they're looking really good, and they've recruited well. And I know Man United and Arsenal have been in contact with him to get him. And whatever team gets him are going to be in a better position with their rebuild, because just the way he's been recruiting and the way he handled the rebuild is a perfect job for him, man. And I hope that we end up getting him, but I don't know. It's 50-50. But Edu needs to take the blame. Everyone says the manager, but, Arteta didn't put Runnison out there and said, go make 3 goalkeeping errors. He doesn't put the players out there and goes, go get sent off. He can only do so much, and the players need to take the responsibility. And this is where I'm saying why we need to be patient with Arteta. And I'm not one of these people that are going to be like, we're going to be 17th and being like, look, we need to be patient. I know it's getting scary, and it's getting nervous for me. And anyone who knows me well knows that I will be genuinely honest. But Arteta doesn't put these players out to do these sort of things, getting sent off, having bad performances. He's putting his faith in them. He's wanting them to, I guess, bounce back the energies. But, these are the players that need to take responsibility. They needed to take responsibility under Wenger. They needed to take responsibility under Unai Emery. Unai Emery, by the way, is sitting 4th place with Villarreal. And they need to take responsibility under Mikel Arteta. And like I said, that he doesn't say go out there and get sent off. He doesn't go out there and say go and make a howler. You know, we can't have a go at him for... Yeah, I know we can have a go at him for playing Runnison in the Carabao Cup quarter-final, but we can't sit there and go, play youngsters, and when they fuck up, go and abuse them and go and say, why did you do that? When weekly, us Arsenal fans, and I surf Reddit and all that, and I see people going, play youngsters. We do it, it fucks up. Why'd you play youngsters? It's so toxic at the moment, and it's difficult to gauge a form of, I guess, unity amongst fans at the moment. You know, all the Arsenal fans are on edge, man. You can go to... I bet I could sit with a random Arsenal fan and we'll have a falling out at the moment because we both have two very different opinions and we don't know what's best. My opinion is he's only... it's not as if he's going out there and he's putting out these players and he knows that, like I said, they're gonna get sent off. They're gonna make a mistake. What you do question is though is the team selection. Willian's not performing. Why is he playing weekly? You know, we can't do the crossing play, but we're doing it weekly. You know, now for the City game, Emil Smith Rowe came on. I think about when we were 2-1 down, 3-1 down. I think 3-1 down. He came on, and he played a ball and he split the defence. He played a through ball. Now, this is a 20-year-old midfielder. Played a ball and it split the defence, and I think it went through to Pepe and he missed it. And I wasn't upset that Pepe missed it, but I was like, fuck, we actually played a pass through the defence and had a chance, rather than over the defence from the wings and had fuck all chance. Granted, yeah, we did score a goal against City from a cross, but, you know, when you score 3-4 games in 3 goals in 6 games, you know, clearly there's an issue there that this tactic isn't working. You know, when you have 70 crosses in and 2 connect, you know. But I was like, wow, this is like Ozil stuff. This is what midfielders are meant to do. This is what Ceballos and Xhaka and El Neni are meant to do. You're meant to go up and you're meant to play a ball straight through the defence and find someone. And it was like, shit, that's insane. And I was like, yeah, why not play him? Why not play him against Chelsea? What have we got to lose? Why not put this squad out that's playing weekly and putting in 110% blood, sweat and tears? Why not go out and say, look, at the moment the first team are failing me. If they go out there and put them out and we lost it, we like, look, the first team aren't playing any good. They're not playing brilliant football. I'm now turning the telly on and going, you know what, we're going to lose. However, when we play the Europa League games, and I see the squad that's playing, when you got Reece Nelson, Willock, Pepe, Balogun, you know, Emil Smith Rowe potentially, I'm like, yeah, you know what, we could win. You know, there's a bit of a bounce to them, and these are all Hail M boys. You know, these are all academy boys that have played with each other as kids. You know, they've got some chemistry together. They want to play together. They've grown up with each other. And it's like, why not? Why not start with a young squad, with a squad that's been playing well, that merits a start? Why not start them and go, you know what, if it's not working out, we'll sub 1 or 2 players on at half-time, or we'll wait till the 50th minute? Because I'm not walking into Chelsea expecting to get a draw or win. No way. What I am expecting, though, is a little bit of fight, a little bit of passion, and a competitive game where we don't get slapped, quite similarly to the City game. Right, so now it comes up to my final topic on this sheet, and then I'm just going to talk about some of the questions you guys have asked me. I think I only got 1 response on Instagram, so shout out Daniel, but I know people have asked me questions in person that I will answer. Right, so now this is a report, I think, after the Tottenham game, and I'm going to read it out first, and I'm going to respond accordingly on my opinion. Members of the first team squad have mentally clocked out of the Spaniards project. Spaniard being Mikel Arteta, so they're clocked out of Arteta's project. Some stars are unhappy with the way Arteta bluntly called out Nicolas Pepe on TV following his red card a fortnight ago, while others are upset at the unexplained omission of Mesut Ozil and Socrates. Both players are influential figures in the dressing room, and the reason for their absence has not been revealed to their teammates, leaving an unsettled atmosphere at the training ground. Many have also questioned why William Saliba hasn't been involved with the first team this season, and the feeling is that he was an Emery signing and is unfavoured by the current Arsenal boss. What's most damning, though, is that Arteta's relationship with David Luiz has significantly soured over recent weeks, and it's reported that the pair no longer speak directly to each other. It's no surprise, then, that leaks are emanating, some even from the first team, and it's believed that several agents of players briefed the media of the fight between Dani Ceballos and David Luiz. Arteta responded by telling his squad in an internal meeting at London Colney that he will destroy whoever's behind the leaks. Just reading that makes my blood boil. It's like, this is meant to be a professional football club. This is meant to be the wages you're spending. This is meant to be a Champions League football team. Barely Europa League team. Not even a fucking title-winning team. And this is how the club's being run. Now, this is reports, rumours and all that, but it is flying around quite a bit, and this is what people have been asking Mikel in press conferences and stuff like that. So first of all, I'm going to go, many members of the first team squad have mentally clocked out the Spaniards project. Well, we all know that. I've been talking to you about that for the last 20 minutes or so. These players failed Wenger, failed Emery, now fouling Arteta. Now, what I want to see is them out of the squad, into the reserves, not playing for us. They can be on the bench, I don't care, but they need to be gone. They're the disease at the club that things haven't gone their way. They put their heads down, can't be asked. They want someone else to come in and do the dirty work for them. They need to be. If you're not clocked into the process, if you're not trusting the process, and you're not still in the fight, we knew. You ask any Arsenal fan, we knew that we weren't going to win the league. We were at a push saying, you know what, Champions League could be doable. But we were still quite adamant, I said to Luke, at the beginning, Champions League football's a good season for us. This wasn't going to be a quick fix. So if these players have turned around and go, oh, you know what, it's gotten a bit difficult, I'm not trusting it anymore. Well, of course it was going to be difficult. Have you seen what state this club is in at the moment? The players we've got. It's going to be difficult. So at this point in time, if Arteta came out and said, look, I've dropped Mustafi, or I've dropped Luiz, or I've dropped William because, he doesn't trust what we're doing in the future, so I'm having to bring in a player such as Reece Nelson or even Emil Smith Rowe or reserve up until when we can recruit again in January, because they're not playing to my non-negotiables. So be it. I wouldn't be pissed if they made mistakes week in, week out, because I know they're playing because they want to put in 110% effort in. That's my opinion on it. Some stars are unhappy with the way Arteta bluntly called out Nicolas Pepe on TV following his red card a fortnight ago. I get people saying, why call him out like that, But again, I understand why Arteta did that. At the moment, at this club, we are going through such a bad patch of form, a bad run of games where we're sitting there going, how are we going to get out of this? Then you got someone like Pepe, who's gone up and, I guess, pushed. I'm going to say headbutt, but really it's a push of the heads, but the technical term's headbutt, because to me, headbutt's where you properly try and knock him out, but it was just a little spat, and he got sent off. And this is what I'm saying. We don't have that sort of mentality as a relegation battle. You cannot afford to do those sort of things in a relegation battle. You cannot afford to go down to 10 men. Everyone needs to be switched on every second of every minute of the game and try and get every point they can catch. And we're already going through a bad patch where 0-0 leads are all over us, man. I remember that game and I was sweating balls. And I remember Bernd Leno got a team of the week for that game, and I know he did fuck all, and it was a post that kept him out from fucking conceding goals. I think they hit the post about 4 or 5 times. And they were thinking, oh yeah, Leno had a good game. He could have been beaten 4 or 5 times. It was luck that the post was there, But yeah, we're struggling already. You go and do something reckless and stupid like that. We're itching for points. You get yourself sent off. We're trying to get Willian out the squad because he's not performing. We give you the opportunity, you get sent off. So, I get Arteta's frustration. I guess you could sugarcoat it in the media. But it's a no-win situation, in my opinion, because you go, oh, Arteta doesn't have the balls to sort of, call him out, but when he calls him out, it's harsh. Pepe hasn't been affected by it. He's still playing for us. He's still in the Europa League. He's still playing in the Premier League for us. I think he started against Everton. Nothing really bad happened. The players need to fucking worry about their football and worry about themselves before thinking about, why did you say that to that journo? We're not in that situation to fucking question that sort of stuff. Others are upset the unexplained omission of Mesut Ozil and Socrates. Both are influential figures in the dressing room, and the reasons for their absence have not been revealed to their teammates, leaving an unsettled atmosphere at the training ground. Again, this is what I said, this was a big rookie mistake by Mikel, which is where we have to question it. Someone should have told him, don't do that, that's stupid, because we should have played to our strengths, we should have played these players where we can, and when we can sell them and get rid of them, then get rid of them, not come out publicly and go, yeah, they're gone. I know he hasn't come out, obviously, and said it publicly, but when you know that they're not even on the bench, they're not even in the squad, they know their time's up. When they were on the bench and they were playing and they were in the squad, I would have much rather us being in mid-table and just having Socrates bounce about on the bench and on the pitch, and and the morale in the dressing room kept up, rather than just saying, no, you're not involved. And if they've got that much pulling power behind the scenes, it's now caused a big issue at the club. It's like, wow, rookie mistake. But again, if we really don't want these players at the club and they're causing more issues than, good stuff, pay their contract out. You have to pay it anyway. That literally, I'm not saying they're on a 3-year deal. These players are like 6 months to a year. It's not a lot. You have to pay it anyway. His wife owns fucking Walmart in America, and Kroenke owns the LA Rams as well. They're not poor. They're worth billions of pounds. Go out and pay out their contracts. Get rid of them, because I tell you what, the longer they fucking stay at this club, the more chance it's going to cause long-term effects. And we've already had too many of those long-term effects. Speaking of which as well, I wanted to say, going back to the Pepe thing, now he's back, Xhaka against Chelsea. Now, I was meant to say that over Saliba. Actually, no, this leads me into Saliba. With Xhaka getting sent off, he grabbed a player by the throat, can't remember who. Now, when Guendouzi did it after Brighton last season, he was out the squad and he was sent out on loan, never to be seen again. Now, I expect the same treatment from Granit Xhaka, because in Guendouzi's defence, he was defending Leno, who'd just been injured and taken off on a stretcher. Now, Granit Xhaka has gone in and made a stupid, reckless 50-50 tackle that wasn't necessary, and then arced up at the players for defending their teammates and grabbed them by the throat. So Mikel goes on about non-negotiables all the time. You do the same thing for Xhaka. You either get rid of him, you don't play him in the games, whatever. He's already had that moment where he took off the captain badge and threw it on the ground last season under Emery, and he booed the fan. He had a go at the fans coming off. So he already lost a load of fans, trust, support, and all that. And he got it back when Mikel came in, and we're like, you know what, we'll give him another chance. He's not captain material again, because what he did was inexcusable back then. But now it's like, look, if you're going to treat Guendouzi like that, and I rate Guendouzi, I think he could be a brilliant midfielder, and he's doing bits at Hertha Berlin apparently. Do the same thing to Xhaka, because he has no future at the club. And ever since we signed him, actually, cool fact, we haven't been in the top 4 since. Leave it there. And so also this leads me into this. Many have also questioned why William Saliba hasn't been involved with the first team this season. And the feeling is that he was an Emery signing and is unfavoured by the current Arsenal boss. Now, I don't know if Ryan Carter will be listening, but shout out, I think Luke would remember. Luke would definitely remember, but maybe episode 3, 4, he sent in a message to the 3 Points podcast, shout out at the 3, number 3 Points podcast _ saying, have you noticed that Arteta doesn't like playing these Emery signings? And I sat there thinking about it. I was like, yeah, you know what? Guendouzi and Torreira, they were decent midfielders. They're better than what we got. Let's be factual about it, right? They're better than what we've got. Saliba, Emery signing, Guendouzi, Torreira not being played, Pepe can't get in ahead of Willian. Pepe's not the best player in the world. Don't get me started on that. You know, he is really mediocre for what we paid for him. However, I feel like we'll have more chance of scoring with him on the pitch than Willian. And I know Willian did bits at Chelsea. Luke showed me, like, beforehand. He's just not turning up for Arsenal. So I'm sitting there thinking, you know what? Ryan picked up on this ages ago. And it's now sort of coming out that the dressing room are thinking the same way. I'm thinking, you know what? Why have we loaned out Torreira? Like, this was a guy who was in the starting 11, playing well, was good midfielder for us. Guendouzi, again, good midfielder for us. Would definitely be benching Xhaka if they were there. Saliba, questions around him. And that's why I question Mikel, you know. I don't know if it's a personal thing where he goes, you know what, they weren't my players. I don't want to play them. I don't know if it's that. But you can't do that as a rookie manager. You can't. The amount of managers that would come in from a sacked manager wouldn't come in and go, right, I'm not playing all the previous managers' signings. So, of course, they play whoever's at the club that can help them. And I know that right now Guendouzi, Torreira would help us in the midfield. Like, you know, Torreira was good at defending. I could just imagine, like, a Guendouzi, Partey, Torreira midfield. Like, that would be the dream, you know? Ceballos as well mixed in there. I mean, I don't want us getting Ceballos on a permanent because I don't think he's the answer. But for the time being, right now, this season, could you imagine? So yeah, shout out to Ryan for that comment ages ago, and that's in that report there. So we need to see what's happening with that. What's most damning, though, is that Arteta's relationship with David Luiz is significantly soured over recent weeks, and it's reported that the pair no longer speaks directly to each other. Well, against Everton, Aubameyang got injured, and, well, he got injured in the warm-up. I think he got like a thigh problem or something. And you'd think, oh, right, captain will be David Luiz because he's our leader at the club at the moment. The way he sort of, you know, he's on the pitch, he's a leader to the youngsters, and that's what I like about Luiz. You know, I do like David Luiz, not for his football mainly, but I see the way he treats the youngsters and how he's a role model to them, and that's what I like about him. I liked that after lockdown, when we lost to City, and I remember him getting, I think he got sent off and brought a player down for a penalty, I think it was Sterling. We were all calling for his head. Myself, I was like, fucking, I hope he doesn't put on an Arsenal shirt again. Fuck him. And he came out for the post-match press conferences and held his hands up and said, I take the blame, my fault. And I was like, you know what? When was the last time I saw any other Arsenal player do that? So he got a lot of brownie points in my book. But now, if he's not talking to Arteta, he needs to be gone. He needs to be out the squad. He needs the same treatment as Mustafi, Kolasinac, Socrates. He's on 6 months left of his contract. Don't have to pay him out, but doesn't have to be played. But yeah, when Holding took the armband against Everton, and you'd think Luiz would take it. So that right there told me, yeah, there is something going on between those two, because normally David Luiz would be that captain, but Holding took it. And it's like, okay, all right. So there might be some truth to that, you know, because normally, yeah, it'll be David Luiz. Yeah, look, that needs to change. That needs to be addressed. If he is not speaking to Arteta, why have him in the squad? You need to be that ruthless manager who goes, right, you don't want to talk to me? Fuck you. You're not in the... You don't play. Sit at home with Ozil. Play Fortnite online with him. You don't be in the squad. That's what needs to happen. Right? I rate Luiz, man. You know, when we play against the big sides like Chelsea, City, United and that, he does stupid challenges. I guess it's because he's going up against the better forwards, better attackers. But when we're playing teams like who we face in the relegation battle now that I'm saying it, like Burnley, West Brom, all them sort of play. He's a good defender. He's a good leader. He's good for Gabriel. He's good for Holding. Whoever he's with, he's good. He organises a defence, and I can see him communicate well. But look, if that's his attitude and that's what he's doing at the moment, yeah, he needs to be gone. And also there's been a lot of leaks coming out the training ground, which we were like, as fans, when we're reading them, we're like, how the fuck are the journos reading about this? Because, you'd never know about this. And apparently David Luiz, his agent, Kia Drapchin, is leaking all the bad blood behind the scenes and all the secrets that are happening behind the club that shouldn't be aired to the public. And it's like, wow. And when you hear Arteta say, he responded by telling his squad in an internal meeting at London Colney that he will destroy whoever is behind the leaks. That's concerning. That right there is worthy of getting your contract terminated, just paid out. If that's the case, if you're going to potentially, the board should be looking at this right now. I keep stumbling up on words here because there's so many things I want to say. First of all, I don't even think the Cronkies know that we played last night. I don't even think they know that we played against Everton. I don't even think they could name our starting lineup, and they're our owners. But if they were ambitious and actual owners, they kept in contact with Mikel, and Mikel said, look, Luiz ain't talking to me. He's going to potentially lose my job. He's got an agent that's leaking stuff out to the media. They cut ties with him. We've done it with Raul. We've done it with other members of staff. When I sit there and I think, you know what? We weren't willing to pay Aaron Ramsey £150,000 a week, yet we're willing to pay Willian £190,000 a week at the age of 30. It really boils my piss. Ramsey as well. When he signed for Juventus, he played his heart out up until he got injured. And I remember, man, I think I cried when I saw him come out the Emirates Stadium and he got the trophy at the end of the season in his suit and he was saying goodbye to the fans and stuff like that. Like, this was a kid that came up through the academies and all that sort of stuff, and he was the last of the Arsenal boys of Santi Cazorla, Alexis Sanchez, Wilshere, Podolski, and he was willing to stay. It was nothing like, I want to leave because of trophies. No, he was willing to say he just wanted £150,000 a week. And, oh no, too much. We have to let you go. Oh, but Willian, you come in, we'll give you £200,000 a week. Really doesn't make sense. And we need someone like Aaron Ramsey right now. He would have been captain, and it would have been, we need him. And while we're on there, Mesut Ozil just tweeted, time for a Q&A session on Twitter tonight. Send me your questions, #AskMesut. So, if you follow Ozil on Twitter, you can see that he is really trying to stir the pot amongst Arsenal fans. He's tweeting while the games are on. When we lose, heartbreak emoji. Look, I don't think it's sincere. I think he's trying to make the fans think, oh, you know what, I'm watching and I'm still here, and to put the pressure on Arteta to get him back in the squad. And like I said, I want him back in the squad, but these are the things that are really rotting the club. We've got players that they've got personal agendas more than their team agendas. Anyway, so I'm up to the questions that people have asked me about the relegation battle. And the first one is, I think Liam asked me, who am I going to support if Arsenal get relegated? It's simple. Arsenal, of course. If we did get relegated, it's, obviously it's heartbreaking to think, and it could happen. But you don't just give up on your club like that, man. Then the second and third division, for me, I'm a one-club man. I don't care if they're not in the Premier League. I'm not going to go and support another Premier League club. I support Arsenal till I die. I don't sing that every weekend. I don't think that every weekend. I don't get up at 4:00 every morning, not to just support them until they get relegated. I'll continue supporting them in the third division, whatever. Yeah. So that's my answer. I'm not going to be supporting anyone. Anyone who plays Tottenham is who I'm going to be supporting, because fuck them. What else? Okay, so we're going to go to the 3 Points podcast. Story. All right. Big John just submitted one. Shout out, Big John. Do you think he should be sacked? I say give him time. Yeah, definitely. That's what I've been saying, There are questions that need to be asked, and there are things that Arteta needs to answer, i.e. the tactics, the team selection. But again, these are the players that have failed under Emery, have failed under Arsene Wenger. You can't tell me Wenger wasn't a good manager. You can't tell me that Emery is not a good manager. He's a winning manager. And you look at, for me, it all started when Arsene Wenger and Gazidis, who was our former sort of club director, and that came in and started putting these bang average players on such a high wage that they didn't warrant that sort of wage. So yeah, I say give him time. I say look, he's close to biting the bullet because, like I said, we need like even he said on the post match conference against City that if we don't win the next 2 or 3 games, we're going to be in serious trouble. And people going, you're 13 games in, but no, watch the football we're playing. We don't look like we can even score a goal. We don't look like we can win a match. And when we are scoring, it's one goal. It's not like we're going to go and win 3-2 or 4-1 or 4-0. It's 1-0 or 2-1, 3-1, 4-1 to the other team. So this is where I'm concerned. I genuinely think Mikel needs to play to his strengths till January. Play through the midfield, play what he has until January, and then sign whoever he needs. If he wants to play as a crossing footballer, he needs to get a young, tall striker. He can get Giroud on loan and a young, tall striker to take over the reins from when Giroud leaves. But we need to stop buying these aging players that are just not cut to do the job. But yeah, definitely, I say give him time. Yeah, that's what needs to happen. But yeah, shout out Big John, and also I want to say, look, man, I'm thinking of you for that crash you were in. That looked pretty serious, and yeah, I'm glad to hear that you're doing well, and I hope you have a good Christmas and New Year, man. Now Daniel O'Callaghan sent in, what should be the highest priority to fix Arsenal Football Club and help them in its current state? Well, like I said, and it'll be a mess, but this team needs to be ripped apart to its core, and it could get ugly. That's my personal opinion. Players need to be gone. They need to be there. A lot of people are saying just pay out their contract, get them out of the club. They need to be gone. We need to play some youth academies. We need we need to be finishing mid-table for the next couple of seasons until we recruit the players that can push on to the top 4. But these players are really, really bang average, and like I said, we could get a manager sacked. It's all well and good to sack Arteta, but we're going to be here next year, and I'm going to be doing the exact same episode saying there was a bounce, we won an FA Cup, or we finished in the top 6, top 4, because let's remember, remember this, last year, Manchester United were in the exact same situation as us. They were just above relegation zone. They brought in Bruno Fernandes and they finished top 4. Now, I'm not saying we'll finish top 4, but if we sacked Arteta tomorrow and we got, say, Max Allegri in, these players played out their skin, managed top 4, we got a couple signings in January, and we're like, done. We're back. We're top 4. Good. But imagine these players that are failing to beat Burnley, West Brom, Fulham, against teams like Barcelona, AC Milan, Juventus, Bayern Munich, any of these teams. Imagine Borussia Dortmund. We'd be embarrassed. Towards the end of Arsene Wenger's reign at the club, we were getting embarrassed at the Allianz. We were getting embarrassed at... Man, I remember waking up at 3 a.m. thinking, oh, fuck, I hope when we lose it's going to be 2-3-0. But it was 7-1 on aggregate, or even, we were getting slapped. And this is what I'm saying, these players aren't good enough. They need to be ripped to the core. We need to replace them. We need to recruit better. And that's what needs to change. And it's going to be a long process. And when we said trust the process, we weren't trusting that we're going to win the league the following season. No one said that. The process is, we all know that the squad needs to be rebuilt, and clearly reading reports, seeing what's happening behind the scenes, like I said, there's a disease at the club that needs to be destroyed, and I genuinely see a decent coach in Mikel Arteta, but he has, I say, mid-January, January 15th, to turn the results around if he wants to keep his job. that's all I can really say. I hope he stays. I hope he proves us wrong. And look, I've called a lot of people out on this podcast, Shaka and all that. I'd like to see them prove me wrong. I'd like to be wrong. I'm not here. The 3 Points podcast, I don't make any profits out of this. I don't make any monetary gain or anything like that. I'm not an influencer. I'm just a fan that's watching this week in, week out, that wants the best for his club. I don't want to make money out of our failures. I just want to make money. I just want the best for my club. And if Xhaka turns around and becomes top goal scorer, or William becomes top assist, great. I can hold my hands up. I can say I was wrong, and that's the best thing to happen. But at the moment, this is what I'm concerned with, and this is what I had to say. A lot of people were thinking, that, I'm hiding from being an Arsenal fan, but no, I'm here. I'm still supporting him. You check out my Instagram. I'm still trying to trust the process. I'm still trying to. Well, it's hard to be positive, but January can't come quick enough, and we need to start picking up wins. And this is why I had to put this out, because there's a lot that a lot of people don't know. They just see the results, but as a fan, if you are explained what's happening, it is quite concerning. That this is a Arsenal Football Club that, this is a situation where players aren't up to the challenge. Players that are getting sent off weekly, players that aren't being played because they're considered Emery signings, players that are getting their agents to leak what's happening behind the scenes to the journos. It is a mess. It is one big mess that needs to be addressed, and the sooner it happens, the better. But anyway, that comes to an end. Look, we're not going to beat Chelsea. If we do, fucking hell. No, I don't know what I'd do, but, if we're going to lose, we have to admit it. This is not me being negative. We can't score more than one goal the past, and that's not even me taking the piss, where the fuck is it? 2-1 to Wolves, 2-0 to Tottenham, 1-0 to Burnley, 1-0 to Southampton, 2-1 to Everton, 4-1 to City. Literally one goal is all we can score. Last time we won was the beginning of November, 1-0 against United, and that was a penalty. So look, we look like we can't score. We have creativity issues. We're still not playing Emil Smith-Rowe, Mesut Ozil, any of those players. We're playing the same players that are failing Arteta, failing Wenger, failing Emery. We need to bleed in some of the youngsters ASAP, and we need to get them. They don't need to win. That's the thing. They don't need to win, but at least they go, you know what? I'm playing for Arsenal. I need to. This is an opportunity I can't let go of. I've got my first team opportunity. It might not work the first week. It might not work the second week, but the third week, once they go, you know what? The first 2 weeks I was a bit nervous, but now I'm going to start getting the gist of things. Until January, then we start bringing the players in. We rushed Partey in against Tottenham, got injured again. Martinelli. This is really the last thing before I say my final things. Martinelli came back from injury, played against City last night for the first 45 minutes, came out, got injured in the second half, 2 minutes in. But I think Carragher or someone said, it's quite amazing that the two Arsenal players are 19 years old, Saka and Martinelli, are the best players in that squad at the moment. And that it looks like that Arsenal are now relying on Martinelli to come in and change their fortunes. And he came on, and I was like, wow, this is like a new signing. We got Martinelli back, But it shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be like that. These youngsters are meant to be learning off the senior players. They should be leaning on Aubameyang, should be leaning on Lacazette, should be leaning on Granit Xhaka. They shouldn't come in and go, yo, I've got a fucking job to do. Like they need me. They need me to score goals. That's just gonna harbour their. I don't even know if harbour's a word, but it's just gonna affect their development. And I don't know whether Saliba's the same. I don't know whether Mikel's sort of thought, you know what, we've really got a good gem here. If he goes in and he makes some similar mistakes to Runarsson, because players make mistakes, man. I can name you so many defenders that made mistakes. Aubameyang scored an own goal the other week, and he's, we want to put a statue up of him outside the stadium. As soon as he makes a mistake, will this fan base turn on him? Because I see how toxic we are at the moment, and it's not good. This is probably the worst time to be an Arsenal fan. You go into our subreddit, r/Gunners. it's toxic. Everyone's fighting with each other. Everyone's angry. No one knows where to turn. And maybe Arteta's really, saying, look, we can't throw you in the deep end because it's an absolute shambles at the moment. I don't know. I've no idea. But anyway, so, yeah, we'll be back next week, I assume, for the post-Arsenal-Chelsea game after Christmas. Yeah, look, I want to just give a massive shout-out to Luke as well for letting me put this out. I asked if I could, because obviously it's our channel. I don't want to take the reins, but this needed to be addressed. I want to just give him a shout-out for everything he's done for me this year. He's been such a good mate, and look, you guys don't know him personally, but if you did, you know how fucking strong and awesome that dude is. And look, I just hope he has a great New Year, great Christmas, and I couldn't be happier to do this podcast with him. And no way is this podcast dead and this podcast finished just because we didn't upload for 3 weeks. It's still on, it's still going, and look, Christmas just took up that time. We hope that everyone listening and who's subscribed and who's followed has a Merry Christmas and a great New Year. I hope if you guys are into football, your teams are doing well and you guys aren't in a situation like us. If there are similar stories or anything that you guys want to get off your chests, again, send it into the 3 Points podcast. We'll chat about it. You got to remember, we don't know what's happening behind the scenes of other football clubs. There could be a complete shambles happening at Sheffield United. Could be complete shambles happening at, I don't know, another club, But because we're not invested in those clubs, we don't know. We just look at results, and that's not their fault. That's just the way the world is. So, yeah, we wish everyone from the 3 Points podcast a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And 2021 is going to be insane. And hopefully, maybe, potentially, next year, Luke will cover the Premier League stuff and I'll cover the Championship stuff. That would be quite the, we have a bit of diversity. Arsenal versus Derby County. Big fucking derby, Fucking forget about North London derby. We don't do that anymore, Arsenal versus fucking, I don't know, who else? QPR? Another London derby. But yeah, anyway, guys, stay safe. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Everyone in the UK, we send our love to you. Obviously, it's going to be a hard time in Tier 4, especially the ones that suffer from mental health and no one should be alone for Christmas. So yeah, everyone stay safe. Much love from the 3 Points podcast from Luke and I for a great year. You guys have been with us. Have a good one. Thanks, guys. Bye.